1 month into the season, and Cody Bellinger might be back. We get into it next.
You are Locked On Cubs, your daily Chicago Cubs podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
You are Locked On Cubs, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day, alongside Sam Olber. I'm Matt Cozy. Please support the show and be a part of the Locked On Cubs community by following on all audio platforms, and you can watch, subscribe, and leave a comment on YouTube. Thanks so much for making us your first listen. Sam and I are lifelong fans, taking our passion into discussion with you on all things Cubs. Today's Tuesday episode is presented by Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONMLB for $20 off your first purchase. Last minute tickets, lowest price guaranteed with Game Time. Cody Bellinger might be having a resurgence right before our very eyes, Sam. Bellinger entered Monday's game, slashing .297, .391, .604 with 7 home runs, also contributed in the Cubs' 5-1 win, which we're going to get to later on. We knew about the Gold Glove defense, and at the very least, the Cubs added a Gold Glove center fielder. He could go get the ball. He's a plus thrower as well. Center field was such a position of need and has been really for years. But the first month of offense from Bellinger has been so encouraging.
Yeah, and it's a lot more than the results. If you know a great tool for our listeners. If you search a player on Google and you go to and then you hit Savant, so Cody Bellinger Savant, you get a look at their analytical data. So their underlying numbers, right? Their hard hit rate, their walk rate, their strikeout rate, ground ball, all that stuff. And it's like Lindsay said the other day, if you see a lot of blue, that's usually not good. If you see a lot of red, that's really good. And Bellinger, he's not hitting the ball that hard, in this metric, but his at bats, especially those on left, are really they just look really sustainable. Like what I'm watching, sure, is he going to have a 950 OPS by September? Probably not. But do I think he's going to just go into a massive tailspin? No. Cody Bellinger as a hitter has one major weakness, and that is that fastball above the belt because of his uppercut swing. And what he's done a really good job of this year is either A, taking that pitch, or B, fouling off that pitch and working until he gets one lower that he could do damage with. I kind of saw this all spring, and I saw it the first weekend of the year when he started out 0-11. And it was, we were just talking about it, like, I think Cody Bellinger is going to be all right. And in my opinion, he's been your best player this year. I know that might raise some eyebrows. I think he's been better than Nico Horner. Wow. I think he has been better than Ian Happ. I think he's been better than Dansby Swanson. I think he's been the best player on the team, and it's given him a huge lift. And if he continues to play like this, all the conversation that we had on Monday's show about, well, this might be unsustainable, it won't be, because it'll carry the team. When you have a center fielder playing Gold Glove defense and has an OPS of almost 1,000, there's not many teams besides the Angels that are bad.
Yeah, and it's of course, about how you sustain and about how even you finish and not you start. But as JD pointed out in the broadcast Monday night,
didn't get a chance to watch much of that. My dad,
oh no,
wanted me to mute him.
Oh, that's too bad. Because JD had a good point about Bellinger's career. When he started off hot, he just stays that way.
Right.
Right. And so that's a good sign for that. Sahadev and Patrick Mooney had a piece in The Athletic over the weekend about Bellinger and the improvements he's made.
Right.
And I think that was probably one of my favorite takeaways that you just brought up is how Bellinger is putting the ball in play more. Strikeout rate, 16.2%. League average is 23.
Yep.
And his eyes are in a spot where the ball is higher. When the ball is higher, no swing. Yes, no. And I think that approach is really working, to do damage down in the zone, try to keep his eyes level, eyes down as much as he can. Because if you're getting beat up, let's stop doing that. Let's stop chasing it. It looks like he's made that adjustment. Looks like he's healthy. He's using his athleticism to his advantage. And another Bellinger nugget I thought you'd like, Sam.
Yeah.
For Baseball Reference has a category called late and close, which we've talked about a while ago.
Sure.
Just in terms of that category. But late and close, Bellinger is hitting 308 with a 471 OBP. So he's doing it all times of a ball game. He's doing it at different spots in the order.
Yeah,
and he's a joy to watch.
And the biggest thing is, in today's age in baseball, there is so much side bias, analytical things where, take a guy like Mark Leiter Jr., he's going to mostly face lefties, right? Ian Happ, much better versus righties than lefties. Right now, Seiya Suzuki has been unbelievable against lefties and horrific against righties. Here's a guy who's a left-handed hitter that has struggled mightily against both sides the last couple of years, but when he played for the Dodgers, he was basically unplayable versus lefties, and he's destroying them.
Yeah.
And he looks it like he doesn't look overwhelmed against these lefties. I mean, and think about it. He came back Friday night, right? From paternity leave.
Yes.
Is that right? And he faces Luzardo. And then he faces Gore. Like, those are two really tough lefties that he's hanging in there against. And then he homers against two of them out of the bullpen over the weekend. So I think that's the thing offensively that's got me the most amped up, is just how he's hung in there against lefties, because he truly now is going to play every day. And that's huge for this team, because they don't have another center fielder, as we've mentioned, numerous times.
Yeah, and his base running has been good. I know that was one of his qualities entering the year, but he's stealing bags too.
His sprint speed too is top, is in the upper echelon.
I mean, this guy can move. Made a great catch to end Monday's win. Had a nice at bat to draw a walk in Monday's win, and led off the 2-out rally opposite field single on the top of the first, which we'll get to in a few minutes.
And almost beat out another hit.
I thought he was safe.
Yeah, it was close.
The replay showed he was safe.
No, it was a close call, man.
So I'm not sure about that, but I really like what you're laying down for us, though. Bellinger has been the Cubs' best player so far.
I agree with that.
I think that is awesome.
Yeah.
That this was a target that we had even on our show way back in the fall. Jed Hoyer was able to seal the deal. You have the Dustin Kelly connection. You have the Johnny Washington connection as hitting coaches.
Sure.
And, it's worked out so far. And I have a lot of belief that this could remain how it is, and it can sustain. And like you said a couple minutes ago, if that happens, the Cubs are going to be in a good position in a lot of these games.
Yeah, if he's hitting like this, then that covers a lot of problems.
Right.
A lot of problems.
Right.
So yeah, it's been great to see. I'm happy for him. I think he's healthy now, and he's lining himself up. And look, let's not do the comment, well, what about extending him? It's April. Or
you don't want to do that?
No, I don't think you extend somebody off a good month. I don't think that's how baseball works.
And plus, does he really want to even do that?
Why would he? When he could get, if he continues to hit like this, he's going to get.
Although Happ did.
Yeah, but Happ and Bellinger are different. Happ's not playing a premium position, right. and Happ took less money to be here, in my opinion.
He's a homegrown guy.
Yeah, I don't think Cody Bellinger. I think he's going to see if this continues, he's going to seek $200 million, man.
He's going to have a huge market.
Yeah, and I don't think the Cubs with who they have coming up are going to want to pay that. But
right,
I got to sneeze. But
mute your mic.
Yeah, but no, I held it. But let's just not ruin, like, every time something great happens, we don't have to just go to the next narrative. Let's just
you've said that before. Yeah,
let's just appreciate what he's doing and let's let it play out.
I don't disagree with that. Yeah, let's enjoy the moment, folks, and maybe get Sam some tissues along the way. Coming up next, we break down the Cubs win. They're back to their winning ways. Stay tuned. Today's episode is brought to you by Game Time. Buying tickets to your favorite event shouldn't be stressful. Game Time is the fast and easy way to buy tickets for all the sports, music, comedy, and theater near you. With killer deals on last-minute tickets and their best price guarantee, you can stop stressing over the tickets and start getting hyped for the fun you'll have. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONMLB for $20 off your first purchase. Terms do apply. Again, create an account, redeem code LOCKEDONMLB for $20 off. To download Game Time today, last-minute tickets, lowest price guaranteed. Today's episode is also brought to you by So Rare, our new sponsor here on the show for a few weeks now. Revolutionary fantasy baseball game and marketplace, transforming fans into owners with officially licensed digital cards featuring players from across all 30 MLB teams. Unlike other fantasy baseball platforms, So Rare lets their managers truly own their fantasy experience, collecting, buying, selling, and competing with player cards against global opponents to win epic rewards. Win or lose, you still own your cards, and there's no cost to play. I lost my spot again. I apologize. Head to sorare.com/lockedon. That's spelled SORARE.com to draft your team of free player cards, set your lineup, and start competing today to win epic rewards. sorare.com/lockedon to start playing today. Welcome back to Locked On Cubs. Thanks for making us your first listen. Cubs play the Nationals at 6:05 p.m. Central Standard Tuesday, and you can listen to every pitch with the Cubs hometown broadcast on SiriusXM. On the SXM app, search Cubs or tune into channel 844 and catch the Cubs all season long on SiriusXM. Cubs defeat the Nationals 5-1 to improve to 15-13 on the season. They plated 2 runs in the top of the first and never looked back. As we mentioned earlier, Bellinger got the rally started with 2 outs in that top of the first, and it was followed by a Seiya Suzuki double and a Trey Mancini double. Dansby Swanson finished with 3 hits, including the 2-run homer, and Ian Happ off the bench went 2 for 2 with the home run as Nelson Velasquez got the start against the lefty to open the game. Speaking of lefties, Sam, Drew Smyly, 7 innings, 6 hits, 1 run, no walks, 2 strikeouts, and the Cubs are back to hanging up that W flag.
Yeah, I think Drew Smyly has really I mean, you could make the case if you look at the peripheral numbers, he's been as good as anybody on this staff, including the main 2. Yeah. And it's really kind of crazy because he had such a rough spring training, and then he had a really rough opening start. Yeah. And since then, he has dominated the Seattle Mariners. He has dominated the Los Angeles Dodgers twice. He has pitched very well. He pitched very well against the Padres in a game that they lost for him. And he pitched really well on Monday night. So, you know, he's a guy. I know that Hayden Wesneski on paper was listed as the 5th starter, but heading into the season, I had Smyly as the 5th starter.
Sure.
And he has shot his way up the totem pole and has been as reliable as any, and really deserves a lot of credit because he's been a lifesaver for this team. Wesneski hasn't been what we had hoped. Jameson Taillon is injured, and he has filled in that 3 spot and has been absolutely dynamite.
Yeah, he's been excellent. He's been fun to watch. He even allowed several leadoff guys to get on Monday's game, but they just didn't come around. Just gave up that solo shot, and that was it.
Yeah, there's a little fortune today. He didn't miss as many bats, and there's some lineouts, but he deserved it. He's pitched well.
Yeah, and Marquis, I know you had it on mute for most of the ball game.
I did.
But, you know, the Nationals put the ball in play a lot. And so for a pitcher like Drew Smyly, as long as you're, you know, allowing soft contact, I think that's a good recipe. You don't have to necessarily miss bats just because the Nationals are making a lot of outs despite not striking out. And yeah, you know, I think similar to Bellinger, you know, let's say he's the best player, best hitter, Smyly has been right there with one of the best pitchers. And
Sure.
yeah, I do think it was discouraging to see him in the spring. I know I was certainly calling for him to make the fifth start of the year, much less considering him as the fifth starter. And he's been lights out in some cases. So very fun. And they need him. It sounds like Jamison Tyone might start Thursday, which would be great.
You think so?
Yeah.
Because they said today he was going to throw a high-end bullpen tomorrow.
Yeah.
Tuesday.
I think there's still a chance with just one day off the mound.
Yeah.
And if not, then definitely next week or over the weekend.
Yeah.
I don't think he's far away at all. But, you see that perhaps the Cubs don't have at least the depth to open a ball game. Not to put it all on Caleb Killian, but, I think there's still some question marks. And so Drew Smyly going, deep in a game is just an added bonus, and him performing even to the levels of his career and kind of how he's been is just fine as well. So he's been outstanding.
Yeah.
And I think the strength of schedule part really stands out to me too, that you bring up who he's faced.
Yeah.
That's legit.
Right.
Leiter struck out the side in the eighth, and Boxberger closed it out in the ninth with a perfect inning as well, as Leiter continues to just dominate for the most part.
Yeah, no, and shout out to you and I, because the guys we highlighted out of the pen were Leiter Jr. and Alzolay, and according to every metric, those are been the best two relievers on this club. So that's fun. I'm really interested, not to get off topic, but
please.
I'm really interested to see when David Ross is going to take the kid gloves off Adbert Alzolay and just let him start facing lefties. Because as I texted you today, I was doing some research this morning, and it just was popping off the page how good he's been, and he's gotten out lefties. So, when is he going to just be the guy? Leiter Jr. has been used beautifully. Boxberger, I think Ross has cleaned up literally since we had the show about it after 2021 games in April. Ross has really cleaned up how he's used those guys. So now it's just kind of about execution. The offense, continues to just produce. My favorite thing about this offense this entire year is no shutouts.
Right.
Knock on wood, obviously. They're not going to get shut out by Trevor Williams.
Yeah.
But, the old regime, that was always my frustration with the core. Is like, 8 runs, 0-0-8, 2-1, 9-9-8, 2-1. This is a lot more steady.
Mm-hmm.
So overall, I'm liking what I'm seeing. I would, if we can come back here on Tuesday, for Tuesday's game with like a 3-2 tilt in our favor, I'll start waving the pom-poms again.
Yeah, you want to see that win close.
Yep, absolutely.
Tuesday's game is Hayden Wisniewski versus old friend Trevor Williams.
Oh, is he really an old friend?
I don't know.
He is,
so.
Technically, I guess.
I'd like to see Wisniewski, in the nation's capital, dice up some hitters. And early leads, I think, can be big for this ball club right now.
Well, they've led
the sweep.
They've led in 24 of 28 games.
Wow.
And in those 24 of 28 games, I don't have this. I would bet you in like 20 of them they've scored first.
Jeez, man.
Yeah,
this team's 2 games over. Oh, sorry, we did that episode on Monday.
Yeah. Looking at Wisniewski. You make a good point about the Nats lineup. It's kind of interesting because you'd think on paper, hey, great, go rack up some Ks and dominate, but they hit the ball a lot. So you got to be careful.
Right.
And he's got to make sure, like, when you face a team that puts the ball in play a lot, you have to make sure you execute, because the good thing is they'll swing early in the count. You'll be able to get early outs like Drew Smyly did today. But if you're hanging pitches, they're going to hit them. Or if you're missing, they're going to hit him. So hopefully he could just get some early outs. I think for Wisniewski, the start is the key. So his last outing against the Padres, he got off to a good start, and he settled in. In most of his games that he has struggled in, just off the top of my head, Cincy, Seattle, and there was one more in there, the Dodgers.
Yeah.
It was off the rails by like the second or third. It didn't look good. So if he could just get through the first couple, find a rhythm, I think we'll be okay. I'm not going to lie to you. I haven't looked at all what Trevor Williams has done this year.
His ERA's in the 4s.
Yeah, I can't imagine it should be that overwhelming.
No.
And maybe for the last time, because if I pat myself for the back, I got to slap myself for the face because I went 2-1 on my preseason calls. Maybe for the last time ever, Edwin Rios will get a start tomorrow.
Yeah, maybe the last time. Wow.
Yeah, because who knows? I mean, we're talking about, Morel's the best hitter on the planet right now. Mervis isn't far behind. And, that means, somebody's got to go.
Right. Right. Well, I was just happy to see Edwin Rios. I wasn't sure.
Yeah, no.
So he had 2 good plate appearances Sunday.
Right.
Yan Gomes exited Monday's game. We're going to discuss some scenarios in which maybe he would have to sit. We do that next. Today's episode is brought to you by BetterHelp. It's so easy to get caught up in what everyone else needs from you and never take a moment to think about what you need for yourself. But when we spend all our time giving, it can leave us feeling stretched thin and burned out. Therapy can give you the tools to find more balance in your life so you can keep supporting others without leaving yourself behind. If you're thinking of starting therapy, give BetterHelp a try. It's entirely online, designed to be convenient, flexible, and suited to your schedule. Just fill out a brief questionnaire to get matched with a licensed therapist and switch therapists anytime for no additional charge. Find more balance with BetterHelp. Visit BetterHelp.com/LockedOnMLB today to get 10% off your first month. That's BetterHelp, HELP.com/LockedOnMLB. Yan Gomes exited Monday's game as a precaution following getting hit in the head on a backswing, not once but twice in the first inning. Post-game, the Cubs told reporters that Gomes is not in concussion protocol, but they will continue monitoring him on Tuesday. Gomes has been excellent. We should probably do an episode on him as the lead sometime. Just in terms of his game calling, relationship with others, elite framing, pretty solid arm back there as well, solid blocker. But if he goes, this is just speculation, but if he does need 7 days, with that concussion IL or even a 10-day stint, just to give him a breather, let's say. I just wanted to bring to everyone's attention here, including myself, the only other catcher on the 40-man roster is prospect Miguel Amaya, who is playing well at AA. And if Gomes just needs, the flat 7 days, I think you probably see Amaya. Dom Nunez has played over 100-plus games in the big leagues. He's at AAA Iowa, but you'd have to burn a 40-man spot. So you might see Amaya come up if Gomes needs to step down. He's been good so far, returned to catching following a variety of injuries himself the last 2 years, and has caught 11 games so far this spring. So just thought that was an interesting note that it's just Gomes, Barnhart, and Amaya on the 40-man.
Do you know what happened to Luis Torrens? Did he get claimed by anybody?
Not yet.
Because if he doesn't get claimed, wouldn't he just get outright at AAA?
If he has an option where he could be a free agent.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because it would also make a lot of sense to just bring him back if that was capable. Yeah, That's agree. True. I mean, my guess is they'll just let Gomes be for a few days. He'll be the emergency catcher. Barnhart will play, and he'll be fine.
Right, just wait a couple days.
Yeah, I hear you, though. I mean, it would be nice. I don't think – I think the whole, bringing up somebody early and damaging their confidence thing's overrated. I've never met one really good player. If you're going to be good, you have confidence. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Like Willie Mays,
especially in this sport.
Willie Mays, the famous story is when he first came up, I think Leo DeRocher was his manager, former Cub manager or future Cub manager at that time. And Willie Mays just really struggled his first handful of games and thought he was going to get cut and all this stuff. And DeRocher was just like, hey, you're my center fielder every day. You'll figure it out. And he turned out to have a nice career. So, I don't know. Because the Connors be like, well, you don't want Amaya to come up and struggle. What, for 3 games?
Yeah, I mean, he's the backup.
Yeah, I don't know. I agree. I hope Gomes is all right. It looked like, my guess is, not to play doctor here, is he got hit in the head and then about 20, 30 minutes later probably felt a bit woozy, right?
Yeah.
Doesn't that feel like what it was?
Yes.
And so I'm surprised that doesn't happen more. Like that. I mean, that was a nasty backswing.
Those
And
guys
shout
get beat up.
out to whoever tweeted at me and was like, he called it right away and said that happened. So
Yeah, good call. Yeah, because we didn't see a replay till later on. So
yeah.
shout out to everydayers who are with us all 5 episodes throughout the week. And you can become an everydayer by checking us out each and every weekday. Be sure to hit that subscribe button for the show on YouTube and smash the like button for the algorithm. Audio Peeps, we're on Apple, Spotify, and wherever you get your podcast. And now streaming on SiriusXM. He's Sam Olber. I'm Matt Cozy. This is Locked On Cubs.